No
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rise and Grind. Today's a special day because we got my guy Elias here. What's up, my guy?
Okay, good.
My guy was the first person back in I think it was 2021. No, when did we get to space, Megan?
2020, we got this space.
Yeah, but when did we know back here? I'm saying.
Oh, I think that was 2021.
21 or 22. Either way,
it's been like
I think it was like 3 years ago that we set up the studio back here, and you were the first one on the green screen with me. So it's only right that we start bringing in some guests. You're the first one that we bring on. But I'm super excited about that. And also, obviously, so we have Elias, who just recently got promoted. Is now the managing broker.
Correct, managing broker of Sotheby's in Westfield.
Boom, let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
What I love about Elias, if you go. And by the way, I'm running blind here. So when I talk, you got to follow me heavy on these. All right. I know where I'm looking, but just trying to make sure you're with me. But so what's cool about that though is anybody knows you since I met you, you've been a complete, you work your ass off, man. You really do. You work really hard. You're so positive. You're so amazing to the people that are around you. And so for you to get this position though, I'm so pumped for you.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I'm just very grateful for this because it just came out of, left field, I'm just rising and grinding every day. And Charles Opper and his team just said, please come on board and help run this office for us and bring.
But you want to know what, when you look back at stuff, so in retrospect, when you're like, you can't connect the dots looking forward, right? You can connect them looking backwards. And I feel like when I look at that, like his journey and your journey, like how could they not select you? You have energy, you're positive, you're doing deals, you're putting out good content. You're super great in your community. You're a loving husband, father. The people in the offices all love you. I know that from when I spoke at other places you used to work at. And it's like, it's stupid if they didn't. You know what I mean? Because when you think about it, now you're in charge of recruiting, right? As well as obviously running the office. But who wants to go work for somebody who's like not like motivating or not like an asshole or like, just all these things are boring, Like I remember one of the offices that I went to with you, in the past, amazing person, but it was an old lady.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
It was an old lady, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
No.
But if you're going to be older, you got to bring that energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of offices are making changes and they're putting people like you in place because it'd be crazy not to. And it'd be different. If you were just an energetic dude and positive and had no deals going, I think that maybe it would go a different way. But because you're a grinder and you work so hard. But so I'm saying this all to say though, for people watching, I think that's so important because you had your head down and you've been working really hard and somebody noticed it.
That's what I really, was taken back because someone really appreciated of who I was. And that's what really, grabbed me. Yeah. Because I'm the kind of person where you work and you get acknowledged.
Right.
Great. But for an outsider to see that, that really humbled me because he said, you really earned this position.
And most people, they don't put that work in because they're worried that they're not going to get that opportunity or they're so focused on they want that. But you were grinding just for your family and just for you.
That's it.
You're never trying to do it just to get a promotion, right? Like you were grinding just for you and your family.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
And you entertain the opportunity, which is important too. Like a lot of people, I think, are so focused that they're blind to the opportunities that come your way. And this person was knocking on your door saying like, hey, come over. And you're like, I don't know. And then when you entertained it, now look at where you are today, right? It's
very grateful.
Let's fucking go, man. I'm super pumped for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so let's start with you. So the real estate industry, I feel like it's been so wild since 2020, right? So everybody who is trying to buy, sell, rent, whatever, it's been outrageously priced. Like I remember when Jackman and I were looking to move 2 years ago, we lost 4 homes for and like nice sized homes that you would not think that people would go that much over and bring cash, right? But we got outbidded, people bringing cash. It was just a crazy market, And on your side, now, what are you seeing different? Because now when I go online and I look at Zillow or if I look at other things and I'm just browsing around, I'm seeing price cuts. I'm seeing this, that, which I haven't seen before. And I know that's not everywhere, obviously.
Yes.
But I'm seeing that more frequently. And so I'm just curious, what are you seeing out there?
Right now, I do see that buyers are coming to play. The rates are going to come down come next month, which is tomorrow, July. They already predict that. And sellers are more aware of where there need to be price point in order for them to attract more buyers.
Right.
So the buyers are coming into play as well as the sellers now coming to reality of what their price should be in order for them to get the top dollar that they are looking for.
Right.
And it's a great opportunity to purchase now and 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They always ask me when's the best time to buy. I say now, today.
Right. Well, and to that point, and South Entry,
of course.
Once we lost those 4 houses, like Jack was emotionally drained. She like these houses. We were picturing our family in these houses, and then like we lost all 4 of them. We were like, all right, discouraged. Like this, like we're done. And I remember I was out with Sal having a lunch, and I told him like, yeah, we're done. Like we're just gonna stay where we are and wait. And he goes, dude. He goes, if you think that waiting is the right move, he goes, imagine in a few years how much more the houses are going to be, how much harder it's going to be. He's like, we're not living in the market that our parents grew up in, and or that we were in before early, right? Like, so if you don't make that move now, who knows? It's unpredictable, but I don't think it's going to be the way that you want it to be. Like our parents' methodology, which is like wait it out and then it'll be good again. Because people like picture this, right? Like if we were going back 10 years ago, right? And you and I went to a bagel store, okay? And the guy goes, it's going to be an extra $3 because the credit card charge is going on to you unless you have cash, right? 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, we'd be like, oh, I'm only bringing cash. I'm not giving you $3 for nothing.
Correct.
Now people don't give a fuck.
No,
they just say, "Oh, it's an extra $3 for this. Who cares?" Boop 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 boop. Right? And I'm curious of it too. I mean, I'm whatever you call it,
guilty of it. Yeah,
guilty of it too. Thank you. But it's like we all do it. So I'm saying, but the point though is like I agree with Sal, and I do forever, where he said to me back then, and he went against what he said, but he said before COVID, he goes, Blackstone or BlackRock is buying crazy amounts of real estate. This is in 2018, 2019. They have a way more aggressive stance on it now. But he was like, I'm never going to sell a house ever again. And Sal sold his house. I was after it. But I was initially going to sell brick, and I didn't because of that. And he's right, because the thing is, at the end of the day, nowadays, like in the future, like with AI and stuff, it's like, what can you not replace, right? Like it's going to be so hard to buy dirt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you have that, like we're all fortunate enough to have that, where it's like in the future, that's going to be so valuable. Like when you think about it now, like how many people like in this room, especially like know people who are like our age or even maybe a little bit younger that are like, renting or with their parents still or trying to figure shit out because it's so insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, back to my question. So you're saying it's getting more realistic.
Yes, it's definitely more realistic for buyers because, they're coming to realization the market is going to stay stable the way it is. It's never going to tank. We're in a very healthy environment right now where people are making the income that they wish. Their jobs are still growing. So the new millennials, they have the capability right now to purchase.
Right.
There is some obstacles too, is inventory. There is some shortage of inventory that we need because now the sellers that bought buyers back then, that bought the properties when the COVID with those interest rates really were.
Dude, that was nuts.
That's how I feel.
How are they gonna
I'm
sell?
like, I don't want to sell my house because I got it for such a good price.
Well,
and
you should
the
never
interest
sell the house.
It was so low. Yeah, exactly.
That should be
That's the
rental
advice that I
property
always
forever.
get. Yeah, rent it out forever. But it's like, where would I go? I'd have to pay double the amount. The interest rate would be so much more. Like
100%.
Wouldn't make any sense.
Totally. But back to the point though, like what you guys are saying, because it's like at the end of the day, that's kind of like I feel like the biggest issue that we have is people like I forget, I think during COVID, like I have friends who have a 2.5 rate. Like I think I got a 3.0 rate. And now it's like obviously double, if not a little bit higher. What do you like? Did they say like what they're expecting the rate to come down to?
They are going to come down, say supposedly in the 5s. If they ever come down to 3s,
there's no way.
Never going to happen.
There's no freaking way we're going to see that.
No.
I don't think we're going to see that again.
No.
I
don't see it. No.
Yeah, but 5 is way better.
Yes, it is. You still say,
but that's why over this period of time where like when we looked at like everything going on with the interest rates going up because of the pandemic and then obviously the inflation and stuff. What's so crazy to me is that before, if you bought a $400,000 house, you had a mortgage that was like $2,500 to $3,000 maybe, and now a $400K house is a 5G plus mortgage.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the crazier part about that is like, it's a lot of money, right? But also on top of that, like I don't think people like leverage enough the FHA. Like I'm saying for the newer people, like I think they forget about FHA. Did you guys do FHA?
Mm-hmm.
Smart,
Yep.
yeah. So it's like everybody should do. So it's like a tongue twister for me. FHA. So everyone should use that if it's your first time buying a house. So I don't know. Obviously, it's a mortgage question, I guess. But like, so if somebody wants to buy like so they leverage their first time home buyer thing. Would they be able to leverage that for like a multi-property?
Yes, they can if they haven't utilized it for their first.
Like I'm saying, if they never bought one ever.
Yes, they can. Absolutely.
That's so smart.
Because that could be their first time home buy purchase with an FHA loan. Great opportunity. Use those tools because these programs are utilized to accommodate the first time home buyer.
Is this still 3%?
3.5, 3%. Depends on the bank that you're dealing with and your credit score. But yes.
But just the one thing I just want to say for people who are listening to that, right? Because rent is like insane right now.
Yes, it is.
Right, like it's crazy. And when I look at how much that is, it's like when I bought my first house, I think in 2015 or something like that. Yeah, 2015. But like I leveraged FHA and we had to put like less than 10 grand down. You know, and it's like, so it's like for people out there that are like, damn, like I'm paying all this money in rent. Like if you find like a modest house for your first home, right? You could put, you know, it's 3.5% down of the total purchase price. And it's a lot better than people think you have to put down 20%.
Correct.
You know,
or buy a multifamily and rent out the other side, and then you're having someone pay essentially for your mortgage, which is so smart.
That's what. So it's funny because that's what. So before I bought my first house, I wanted to do that, and then like we found what we thought was our dream home, and I was like, I don't need that, and I went the wrong way there, but. Anyway, and I also shouldn't have sold the house either. I was stupid of me.
It all happened.
Yeah, but now I'll never sell.
You live and you learn.
Yeah, but all right. Anyway, so any other real estate things you got for us, man? What else do people know?
They should just know that prior to
besides call Elias,
of course, but definitely get pre-approved before you see any home. There is no reason for you to be out there looking at any homes if you haven't been talking to your lender and see what your buying power is. Second is. You'll fall in love with the house. People always ask me, Elias, well, how do I know what's the right house? I say it's the same thing. Once you meet your spouse, it's that feeling. It's a feeling that like, all right, this is the one, and you marry it. You don't date it. You marry the spouse. You marry the house. It's the perfect combination.
I like that.
And just be patient. Inventory does start surfacing more and more now that the schools are out and graduations have happened. So I definitely believe a lot of empty nesters are happening now. So they're starting to say, you know what? We don't need this big house. We don't need to pay these taxes any longer. So that's true. Let's get rid of it and downsize. Come down the shore.
Graduation. A lot of people are probably thinking of downsizing.
Oh, yeah. They're empty nesters. Yeah. So they don't need them anymore like they used to.
Right.
So stay patient because it always happens one way or the other.
Right. Love it. And then Meg, let's hit some topics.
All right. Let's talk about FIFA being in.
So FIFA and NJ. Dude, you ready for this?
The World Cup. Yeah.
It's coming.
It's going to be at MetLife.
I'm concerned about the traffic. Is that that's like my biggest concern.
The good thing for us is it's so far up north. Though.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be people flying into Newark and to JFK and all different things.
And then coming in.
And then thank God it's so far up north. But I think me and Brandon are going to try to get to one of them at least.
Really? That's Brandon so really wants
to. Because in our lifetime, how often is FIFA going to be in New Jersey?
When is it?
It's at some point in July, I think it starts to begin.
Of next year, yes.
Oh,
it's a great opportunity because, like I said, when's that ever going to happen again?
We got to get Better Call Elias t-shirts.
We should do an adapting social box.
I was going to say, could you imagine? They're probably like millions, dude. I can't even imagine how many millions that those boxes cost, and then like you saw, and it's like the one time I went to the Jets box. Yeah. I'm like, I never been to a box like that in my life, and I get in there and they're eating like chicken tendies. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, I thought we were having like filet and lobster.
Oh no, that's my kind of place.
Me too, actually. But it's like you think it's this crazy shit, and then we went to the Yankees game, right? And we did the Yankees box suite. And same thing, chicken tendies,
sports game,
right? Couple sports beers, foods. couple sun sips, and I'm like, damn, I thought we were like going to be drinking fucking Woodford and smoking cigars.
It's going to bring a lot of really good business to the area.
Live life.
Yeah,
But that's the thing about the box suite life. It's like you thought it'd be cooler, with the food at least, the food. At least.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's gonna be cool that they're coming in Jersey. So point is that businesses, especially that are in that area, it's interesting because like if you have a global reach of consumers, it'd be interesting to geofence that during FIFA. You have all these people that are coming around,
Correct,
and going to see your content, see your stuff while they're here, whether they speak English or not. And then obviously you could remarket them and get in front of them. But also if you have any sort of signage or like you're in those areas, because people are going to be sleeping all over the place, Airbnb, hotels, like it's going to be insane. It's going to be literally insane.
I wonder if billboard prices will go up during that time around.
I mean, it'd be crazy not to.
Right?
I'm sure.
That's what I would think. Yeah.
Also, though, when you think about it, because some people, like a dentist, could be like, "Well, I'm not going to pay more because like there's some guys coming in from Germany.
Yeah.
I'm not touching his teeth."
Yeah.
So
that's
I
true
could see the fight against it, but then I mean, that level of traffic and publicity, it's huge. You know what I mean?
Traffic is what I'm thinking of because I feel like that's how they sell billboard value is how many people pass it.
Yeah.
So it's like.
And if you wait, time out. We didn't say this, but if you didn't know this, Elias is so you're Portuguese, right?
Greek.
Kidding, bro. I'm kidding. Come on. He's the Greek realist.
That's it.
You know, everybody listening knows you, dude. You're like the mayor out there.
I know, it's the best.
You're the mayor. Every time I'm out there or talking to somebody, they're like, yeah, and everyone knows you.
It's because you
from the barcode, dude. He's
from
like,
the barcode. Yeah, Eddie G. Shout out to Eddie G. He loves Elizabeth, and that's what my hometown is. And he texted me, says, do you know this guy? He goes, of course I know Elias. I always tell people if they don't know Elias, I'm not doing my job.
Right? True. That's a good point.
That is true.
I got heartbroken about a couple weeks ago. A lady came to my house who our kids go to school with each other. And she looked at me, looked at my house, fine. She goes, I didn't know you were a realtor. I said, excuse me? Like, oh my God, my heart melted. I was like, you did not know I was a realtor. I did not do my job properly.
Dude, get this energy. Whatever you do out there, you need to listen to what he's saying because part of your brand. People got to know.
Everybody needs to know that you are a realtor.
Your priest, your neighbor,
everybody.
The dogs, everybody.
Mechanic. So just always let people know. You never know who you're talking to. You never know you get the next lead. So
you ever do those speed dating things for for business networking?
I haven't done it, but I've seen it. Of course.
I feel like you would thrive, dude. I feel like you would thrive in that situation. I forget where they do that. I think they do it somewhere in Asbury. It's like a business speed dating.
Oh, I don't know about the business one, but at Johnny Max they do a regular.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking about. It's like a normal speed date. Oh, never mind.
Although you should go there and try to pitch Adapting Social. That would make for such good content.
I don't know if my wife would like that.
That would be so. Just every person that sits down, you try to pitch Adapting Social.
So wait, hold on. I will say one thing though, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but so when Bernie Sanders was running for Prez back in whatever the time that was, when was that? Is that 2 president elections ago?
I think so too.
Or 1 or 2, whatever. So somebody that I used to go to high school with, I'm not going to drop names. Somebody I used to go to high school with, she was like campaigning with his like crew. And she went viral because she was on Tinder and all these dating apps. And she was like essentially like messaging back and being like, do you feel the burn? Vote for Bernie Sanders.
That is so funny.
All over these dating apps.
Right? Oh my god!
And so I just feel like we should get you on Tinder and just lighting up the sky with like, yo, do you know I'm a realtor? Do you know I'm a realtor?
Why not?
Let's get this guy an eHarmony, just like hitting it.
Yeah, you can still buy a house when you're single.
Yes, you can.
It's an interesting concept actually when you think about it. Like obviously you're on there, you got you suited up. Right, and then people are just swiping right on you, right? I think it's an interesting.
And then your auto
I'm gonna try it,
guys.
I'm gonna try it. I guarantee you. Let's see what happens with this.
A bunch of single people are like, yo, I need a house.
That's so funny.
Caravan them around.
Exactly.
Why not?
It's disruptive.
It's another way.
When you really think about it.
Yeah,
right?
That's why it's called Adapting Social. We got to adapt to the market. This is how it is.
That's it. We got to think creatively here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, Meg, what else you got?
All right, we've got, actually, I'm going to talk about TikTok. Well, first of all, apparently they found a buyer and that deadline is coming up pretty quick. So it's really interesting. They're not saying who the buyer is, but it's a group, quote unquote, group of wealthy people. That's what Trump is saying. So we'll see. But they actually just released an insight spotlight. So many people go on TikTok and they're like, I don't know what to post. Like, what content do I create? And so now it'll auto suggest exactly what to post with what trends and what concept for you based on your audience. Takes the thinking out of it, takes the strategy out of it.
TikTok,
and you can go viral probably a lot easier than sitting there trying to come up with your own ideas.
I like it. Are you on TikTok?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. The only thing about TikTok is like when too many people follow those auto suggestions, then you're seeing the same video over and over and over. And then it comes down to, like who has a nicer face or a better personality,
True.
right, to execute it, because
Right.
you're seeing the same exact storyline over and over.
Yeah.
So
It's valid.
there's some pros and cons to that. All right, next we have Adobe LLM optimizer launching.
Yeah. So the cool part about that is they're doing tracking where you're able to, on AI platforms like ChatGPT, get analytics from it. So people who are searching X, looking up X. So no shocker there. Adobe's in the race here, making sure that, like, because this is the thing, like right now we could see external traffic, right? Like if somebody clicked on something and came to our website from ChatGPT or Gemini, we could see like the website and where it came from. But they're working on getting like in-app analytics where we can understand those types of things.
That's going to be really interesting.
Right. So like that's like a huge game changer, because now again it makes it like a search engine. We can look at like what people are looking up, like what they're having conversations about your brand or your company or whatever.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, and that's important.
That's kind of like, because right now in Google Analytics, you're starting to see that traffic comes from ChatGPT to your business, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But now what you're saying, that's kind of like Search Console, where you can see exactly what keywords people are using to type in. That's a really valuable tool.
Wow.
Elias is what the hell are you guys talking about?
Well, yeah, but
What the?
for real estate, we do use ChatGPT as well. But, different write-ups and what the consumers are looking for. Those keywords is what propels the consumer to come back to us.
Right.
So
the incentive for real estate agents should be, if somebody typed in who's the best real estate agent in New Jersey, who comes up, and how can you get yourself to come up, which actually that goes into my next topic. Right now, generative AI search is looking for social proof to recommend that. So it's looking through all of your reviews, it's looking through all of your social content, and not just what you're posting, what people are commenting on your post too, to basically look to see, is this the best brand or person in this industry? What are people saying about them? If someone is saying that you are really responsive, if I type into ChatGPT, who's the most responsive real estate agent, and you have that circulating everywhere by other people, you're going to start to pop up now.
It's true, because I just had a conversation with another agent this week, and I said, get the reviews immediately. He goes, what do you mean? I said, the first time you meet this person,
they look you up.
They're going to ask them, how'd you find me, and write a review on you. So they'll do it right in front of you, and then another review at the time of closing.
Right.
So you can get 2 reviews out of 1 customer. So it's
that's smart to do.
Yeah.
Too, on
because
2 different platforms. Yeah.
Once the closing is done, that's it. They're on their way.
They don't worry about you anymore.
Right.
But to your point, you're right. I mean, because like when you have like people, not only people do their due diligence. They'll look at your reviews on Zillow, look at all these other things, but they'll also, AI is also looking at these things now too.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you have to do it for both. But speaking of that, what do you think about this whole big Zillow thing right now that's going on?
I'm very for it, because us realtors are in this industry to guide our clients into the right path. Zillow is just buying up whatever they can and misleading the consumers. That's just how I say it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Zillow is just not accurate at all. Zillow, please just
for those who don't know what's going on with Zillow, is it that the listings aren't accurate, like you're saying?
They're not publicizing as many listings as they want to on the platform, on theirs, and they're holding it back. And that's why you need the realtor to guide you into what's available, what's exclusive out there on the market. So definitely.
Well, Compass is suing Zillow. Yeah. And they're like, I'm not sure why more people are not suing them. Can you look that up and see what generally what that's about? But yes, like anyway, but while she's looking that up, it's like one of those things that right now, I feel like Zillow is trying to remove the agent.
Yes, correct.
They're trying to automate it and take agents out.
Agents are not going to leave. They're always going to stay here. You know, their interaction of a human is the same perspective. You need that agent to show you the house.
Right.
You just can't just walk up to some random home and they're going to let you in.
Right.
So basically, Compass is suing Zillow because Zillow has some sort of policy that bans listings from being publicly marketed anywhere else before being added to Zillow's platform.
So like if you're on Zillow, you can't be on
like realtor.com or
Correct.
like homes.com.
I mean, nobody goes to realtor.com anyway.
No, but homes.com's commercials are incredible.
Homes.com.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're so good. Because the whole time they're like, oh, so we can't say that we're the best. And
well, the dude from Schitt's Creek is just awesome.
Yeah.
That dude is just fire.
Yeah, he has a great personality. But that's crazy that Zillow is doing that. That seems not fair.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens.
That's it.
See what happens. So what else we got?
All right. We have got 38% of small businesses using AI.
Yeah. So I think if you would ask that question, I think more people would think that it's like closer to like 90 or 80%. And it's interesting that not even 50% of people are using it yet. And so like the adoption rate is still a lot lower than most people thought it would be in their businesses.
That's
and leverage.
surprising to me.
Right. But we still live in a world where there's still the boomers are still on their way of leaving, but they're still here. And then Gen Xers are still, essentially in the realm, and they still want to have a conversation with somebody, right? Like they still want to like know like this is like accurate, right?
Yeah.
And they don't fully trust technology the way that obviously we do growing up and stuff. So like it's one of those things where the adoption rate is not where it was. And then I also recently saw this thing on CNBC on Squawk Box, the business channel, where they were saying like, is this like the tech bubble of the late 90s, early 2000s, where like everyone was like the .com boom, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And everyone was buying stocks, and then it just popped, and everyone lost tons and tons of money. And they're like, is this what's going to happen with AI? Because they're like, because now they're starting to question like, will AI ever really be super intelligence? Like we don't know that answer yet. That's why but it blows my mind when you think about it. They're building factories and warehouses, like millions of square feet, right? All to simulate a human. When you think about, we're just one being, right? Not even the size of the door of these warehouses that they're trying to re-emulate. We have trillions of nerves and cells and all that stuff in our body. But they're trying to redo that. So anyway, they're starting to, it's interesting. So they're starting to ask that question, like, is this a bubble? And is it going to pop? And is this ever going to be as intelligent as we think it's going to be? Because right now we know it's super helpful, right? In a lot of ways for like our type of work, especially, and just asking questions, like getting answers. But like, is it going to be what everyone's saying it's going to be? And that's the interesting thing that now we're starting to ask. Before it was like, So that's why when I saw that the adoption rate isn't what people thought it was yet, and like it's like a lot lower, it's not even 50%. It's like,
that's interesting too, because that's small businesses. And I just saw another article. A lot of big brands were over at the Cannes Festival. Yeah. And there's a report that those brands are planning on investing 10 million annually into AI over the next few years. And so it's like, that's a lot of money to invest annually for something that might not even pan out to be what we think it's going to be. Yeah. And it's still evolving, right? It's like, we don't know its full capacity yet. So it's a lot of money to invest, to test and test and test and test.
100%.
Which is why if you don't know how to use AI, you should learn, because a lot of big brands are investing heavily into people who know how to use it and make it work for their business. True. Like we do.
True. Yeah. Very true.
Yep. All right. Last topic here. Meta is testing AI agents. I feel like all we talk about is AI. But that's the world that we live in right now. Show. Yeah, that's what we should change the name to. They are using AI agents, or they're testing this at least, which they've had concepts like this in the past where if you message a brand, you have automated responses, right? But they're very set responses to be like, hi, welcome to our page. Thanks for following us. Now there's an AI agent who's able to have more of a conversation with somebody who's messaging you. So you don't have to sit there and engage back and forth all day. The pro of this is that you're getting instant engagement through people messaging you. Right. The con is that it doesn't quite have your personality, and you're going to have to go back through to see what it said to those people, because what if it didn't say something right? Yeah. Right. True.
And it does, and listen, it does mess some stuff up. Like I've had some conversation recently where I was testing certain things and it wasn't accurate. And I'd be like, hey, this isn't accurate. And they'd be like, oh, sorry. Yeah. And it's like, damn, dog, you're supposed to be 100% accurate, even though it says like obviously things can.
I just saw a social post about that I feel like it was Zuckerberg or someone that was like, I can't believe you guys are believing what ChatGPT has to say. Right. And I was like, what do you mean? Of course we're believing it.
Of course it's supposed to be right. Right. Yeah. So you got to fact check these things for sure.
You definitely have to fact check them. But that is it. That's all our topics for today.
So as we head to the end, so normally I would put Megan on the spot for a Motivation Monday, but because we got Elias here.
Lucky you.
Hit us with some positive people watching that on Monday. What can they do to get their energy going for this week?
Hit the gym. Guarantee you'll feel much better. Okay. I know it's very challenging sometimes, whatnot, but I go to the gym at 5 a.m. and it's the best way to start your day. You get your mind right, clarity, and you're really indestructible. I mean, it's the best way to start your day. Even if you take a walk, just do something.
Move that body.
That's it for that 1
Mhm.
hour. If not a 1 hour, do a half hour. But it's the best gift you could give yourself. And to be able to work out, it's a privilege. So
Oh yeah.
I really do feel bad
True.
if you can't work out. But if you have the capability to get up and go to a fast food restaurant, you have the capability to go to the gym too. So
I like
stop making
that.
excuses.
Yep.
Get
I
out
love
there
that.
and make it happen.
But also, there's during COVID, when I got my wife the Peloton, and I like one of the things I realized, like I hate like doing these because I'm not like a gym class guy, right? So like I got into like I like boxing a lot better, like that type of stuff. But Peloton has like this like workout where you can do like it's like a 10-minute climb or whatever,
Mhm.
and it's like but it's super intense and you burn a ton of calories. So it changed my thinking of like because before it was like you had to go to the gym for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and like that's a workout. But like realistically, you can go on your TV and go on YouTube and pull up a 5 to 10 minute workout
Mhm.
at your house.
Correct.
So there's no more excuses.
No, there's no
You know?
excuses.
Now it's just pure laziness. Get it done.
Yeah.
Amen.
But
Yeah.
hey, happy Monday, guys. Elias, where can they find you?
You can find me on njgreekrealtor.com or on my Instagram, Realtor Elias, and you'll see all the great content, all organic. I don't pay for any followers, any of that. It's the real deal here.
Guaranteed.
That's
no,
the disclaimer.
Guaranteed no bots are on this guy's page. We love that. Elias, great guy. Dude,
Thank you.
Congrats again on your promotion.
Thank you so much.
Gig. And we'll see you guys back next Monday, 9 a.m.